Frankie, I did see you went to a Red Hot Chili Peppers gig this week. I'm assuming you dove headfirst into a mosh pit.
Oh, I absolutely did. It was actually I watched it at the West Ham ground. So basically, there was a mosh pit. I was standing in the middle of the pitch, and there was a mosh pit going on right next to me, and basically, I got enveloped in it. And my footballer instinct kicked in, and I just dived to the floor. I was giving it, giving it like getting on the floor, peeking through my eyebrow, my eye, and my fingers, just screaming for the ref, waving the imaginary card. But no one paid attention. They just carried on giving me a bit of that. And then otherwise, also because it was at the West Ham grounds, everybody's focused on the Red Hot Chili Peppers, iconic band. And I was just looking around at everyone going like, West Ham are not the Academy of Football. That's just that's a ridiculous claim. You know what?
We are.
Yeah, and everyone's looking at me like, I just want to sing along to Californication. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, that was great though. Yeah, it was. It sort of took me back to the golden era of my life, the 90s. Super Nintendos, N64s, Blink 182, Red Hot Chili Peppers, WWF wrestling as it was known back then. And Aston Villa have been a really good side at periods of the 90s. So yeah, it was a nice nostalgia trip.
Oh, very nice. Yeah. Well, I imagine the West Ham ground is probably used to having a mosh pit kind of going on in the middle of it after the protests against the owners a couple of years ago. Do you remember that?
Oh,
Guy running onto the pitch. I think who escorted him off the pitch?
Mark Noble, was it?
Mark Noble got involved in it, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, actually, Mark Noble was there after the mosh pit, cleaning all the rubbish up with a broom, and then all football twisters like, that's class. That's class. That's a classy touch. But yeah. Well,
very nice.
Give over. Yeah, so
very nice. Well, there we are. I mean, West Ham have had their developments, their new ground. Well, I think it's time to talk about ours. It's a good time to talk about it. Let's dig into the big developments this week. First of all, Villa have announced it's launched a pre-application planning consultation, whatever that means, as part of its long-term vision for Villa Park and the surrounding area. God, what a load of guff those 4 words are. The first phase of those plans could see a rebuild of the North Stand, which would connect the Trinity Stand, filling in those sides, and take capacity past 50,000. And both those stands would also see a big investment in the hospitality areas. The club also wants to construct what Christian Purslow has called a multi-use building on the site that's currently used as the car park behind the North Stand. So that would include retail facilities, cafes, bars, restaurants, and a fan zone, with the idea being the stadium will be used not just on match days, but kind of throughout the year. If the application is successful, building works expected to take place between next year and 2025. With the ultimate aim being to take capacity past 60,000. So these plans, which have just been announced, are just the first phase in the development. So all very exciting. Villa are also encouraging fans to have their say on the club website. So head there if you want to make your feelings heard. But the only Villa fan whose opinion I care about is Frankie Maguire. So Frankie, what do you think of these plans? And what would you like to see as part of the Villa Park redevelopment?
It's nice to know that you care about my opinion. Even my own parents don't care about my opinion.
I do. Of course I do. Of course I do.
Even my girlfriend's like, nah, don't listen to him, mate. She's Australian. That's why I did an Aussie accent there. So.
I validate you, Frankie. If no one else does, I'm here to validate you.
Yeah. So when I put tweets out and they get 0 likes, and I'm just like waiting for George to give me the like, please.
You just sort of leave it to that one of those tweets hovering for maybe like a day before subtly deleting it. Yeah, I know your game.
Quietly gone. It's like, where? Yeah, a page cannot be found.
Exactly.
Yeah. Look, it's really positive news about the new stand. I think Tottenham Hotspur have set the benchmark for new stadiums, haven't they?
Yeah, very much so.
I've not been there myself. Every single person I've spoken to who has been says it is an absolute
I have been. I've been. I went to the first game of a couple of seasons ago. Our first game back in the Premier League. We played the first game of the season away at the new stadium, and I think that might have been the first Premier League game held there, and it was incredible. Not the result, granted, but the facilities, the stadium, the concourses, the bars, the restaurants, all that sort of stuff. It's amazing. I can see exactly what Purslow and the Villa board of directors and the owners are trying to achieve with this idea. It's trying to get that sort of, you come for the football, but you stay for the extra facilities that exist on at the ground. And I think, I think Christian Purslow said as well that if England win their bid for the next Euros after Germany 2028, that he wants Villa Park to be one of the stadiums to host games, which obviously it has done in the past. Euro 96 being kind of the tournament that stands out for me. A few other big games have been held there too. So it's going back to that ability to host those type of games, and that's what this development is part of trying to achieve as well. So yeah, you can see the blueprint of the Spurs ground has been set, and now we're trying to emulate that, I think.
Absolutely, and I think we're very fortunate with Villa Park that it's a ground that it has a classic look and a classic feel. Yeah. And various away fans I talk to who go to Villa Park, talk about what a great experience it is. Like, people just generally tend to like going there, particularly away teams. Unfortunately, Tottenham and Man United tend to get quite a lot of good results there, don't they? But I think as a stadium, it's aged well. I would compare that to Old Trafford, which I think has not aged well. Despite various developments that have gone over there over the last 30 years.
St. James's Park as well it needs development, doesn't it? It's
a
little bit.
I'd say Old Trafford's the one that really sticks out to me. And Aston Villa, I think we're lucky with what the ground we have, and it's great that we're developing it even further. And obviously, if you were to pick out which end of the ground needs the most development urgently, you would say it's the North Stand. Just a bit of modernisation, essentially. And yes, Birmingham is now a really great city to go out in. I strongly encourage anyone who doesn't live there, who listens to this, to go there and see like how much it has changed in a really positive way. There's so much to do. There's so much to go out and see. And, Aston Villa's redevelopment can be part of that. So you'd like to see this Villa Live section they're talking about. I've seen it compared to box park style feel that you get at Wembley, you get in Shoreditch in London, and various other parts of the country. And if Villa Park can have that and make it somewhere that can be a fun place to go, just even in the week, even aside from Villa games being on, that's going to increase revenues for Villa. And ultimately, that's the bottom line, isn't it? Villa has to raise the revenues and make Villa Park a destination place to go. And as you mentioned earlier, also somewhere that's fit to hold Euro games or even World Cup games in the future, and maybe even a Champions League final at some point. It's a really positive development. One thing I haven't seen is a picture of what it would look like inside the ground. So I've not seen, if you sat, let's imagine you sat in the Holt End or the Trinity, what the North Stand would look like. I hope they've got something, cool, so just something that looks a really nice bit of like a modern, unique stand. I always think it's important to have unique stands, and I really particularly don't like that bowl look that a lot of stadiums went for from the year 2000 to about 2010. A fair number of grounds I've been to have just had they're all a bit round and blend into one. I just hope Villa, if we fill in the corners, we're able to maintain a unique feel to stands. And I think Tottenham, whilst they have the round thing going on, they've maintained that uniqueness with a couple of their stands. So hopefully Villa can do that as well.
Well, I thoroughly advise and recommend anyone listening who hasn't had a read through of the plans to go on the official Villa website. It's got a lot of detail there. An interview with Christian Purslow on there as well, kind of explaining what he hopes to achieve with these plans. Also, some nice little sketches which look like L.S. Lowry paintings, of like little stick men.
I thought it was like, "Where's Wally?" I was like trying to find it. Just where's Johan Lang? You just find his little smiling face just hidden away.
Yeah, the animation leaves a lot to be desired. It's very sketchy. I mean, it kind of looks like a 6-year-old has drawn it.
Well, if whoever drew that, if they're watching this and they're in tears now, I'm very sorry about that. I think it's really good. I think it's really good.
You know, it's an interesting animation for sure. It does kind of look like the guy was told maybe at about 1 o'clock this afternoon that there was going to be a big announcement by the club, and you had to quickly get some sketches out there. But no, it's very detailed, and it gives you. I mean, with the Villa Live development, it gives you a kind of a nice inside view of what that could look like. It is very Box Park Croydon for sure, which is cool. You know, it's nice. It's very different to what's there at the moment, which is, you know, a car park. So that is good. I mean, I would say in terms of what I'd like to see, a better connectivity between Witton Station and the ground.
Yes,
and Witton Station
transport.
to the rest of it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how easy that is to achieve, whether there'd be more people having to be involved in that network rail, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But that would stand out for me as something that would need to be looked at.
Absolutely. Transport is something that a lot of Villa fans have been talking about for a long time, and I've stood in those queues for a long time at the train station. So Birmingham City Council, Network Rail, that's something Aston Villa has to build a relationship with, and obviously they probably already have one, but you know, it is quite a pressing matter, particularly if they're planning on raising the capacity of the stadium, not just 50,000 to 60,000.
Yeah.
But also, you know, the most important people, I guess, in a lot of ways as well, actually, are the local community. It's important to know what they think, so they can make their views heard on the Villa. If they go onto the Villa website and find the link, it is important to know what they feel about this, really, because it affects them the most.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, it's just positive to think that we've got, you know, a board that is this ambitious, and a board that clearly has a vision for taking Villa to a higher level, you know, and making us look like a first-class, thoroughly modern team. And, you know, you compare that to what Manchester United have, and Man United have owners that fundamentally just look like they're in it to take the money out of the club and not really reinvest it. So
they've put their money where their mouth is, both on the pitch and off the pitch. You know, obviously there's been a big investment in terms of the squad, and you know, hopefully, fingers crossed, I'm sure that will continue this summer. But now, you know, the vision is now off the field as well. My slight concern is maybe, you know, Tottenham. There's been concern among some Tottenham fans that the investment, the loans that were taken out to build the new stadium, as incredible as it is, has meant that on the field they haven't invested as much as a lot of Spurs fans would have hoped.
Yeah, that's what hit Arsenal as well, wasn't it? During the Arsenal
yes, exactly. So you know, that's something that maybe could be an issue further down the line. But you know, as things stand at the moment, it's good, isn't it? You know, as we can see, investment on the pitch, now investment off the pitch, and if we can get the balance right between the two, then I can only see positive things coming out of it.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, Villa have to up the revenues. I mean, you know, the training kit came out on Monday as well. You know, I think it looks all right. The pricing, though, obviously is a big concern for Villa fans. Really expensive, particularly now that we're in the cost of living crisis.
Bit of a backlash to that, wasn't it? I saw on social media to when that was announced. So,
and understandable as well, particularly when you compare it to the Wolverhampton Wanderers pricing, and they've got the same designer. So, although I think that I do gather there's a difference in how Wolves produce their clothes. I don't think they've got the set of Villa are using Fanatics. I think Wolves might be in a house, so perhaps that's a reason Wolves are cheaper. That's probably something that's something Aston Villa do have to address, because clearly there's a lot of fans who are not going to be able, who want to get this stuff and can't afford to do it. So that's fundamentally something that Villa are going to have to deal with. But you know, on the other side as well, we're talking about the new stadium, or the new stand, and revenues are a part of it. With financial fair play, Villa ultimately have to up the revenues at some point. So hopefully the new stand can be a huge part of that. And 60,000 eventually.
Yeah.
George.
Well, there's a huge backlog in terms of those waiting to get season tickets, isn't there? There's a huge desire amongst people in Birmingham and other areas to get in and see the Villa week in, week out. So obviously that is, it's meeting demand. The demand is there. We just don't have the supply. So obviously the more seats we have, the more we can fill Villa Park and the more incredible it's going to be. I think it's really, really exciting. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, what I haven't seen as part of the development plans, I've looked quite thoroughly. I can't see anywhere a statue to Bosco Balaban. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that anywhere? It's not on the Ellis Lowry pictures that I've seen. It's not sketched in, so that's going to be announced as part of maybe the second phase. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that might be the second phase. They're probably going to be honest. They're probably planning on putting it outside the Holt end.
Yeah, that's right.
Understandable.
Yeah. Where he scored all his goals.
Yes, I think there might be a mural as well for him. And who's a youth player who's played one season? Tim Agrobenham.
Yeah.
Tim Agrobenham. Sorry. But yes, so yes, a mural to all of our youth players. But the Bosco Balaban statue. I might put that in my feedback. Might just put
put that in the feedback. I hope it ends up looking like the one that they did to Ronaldo in that airport. The one he had to redo.
The one that looked like Niall Quinn.
Yeah. To be fair, I've completely forgotten what Bosco Balaban actually looks like, so they could literally do anything to this statue, and I'd trust it was Balaban.
I remember he had a curtain haircut like I did. I mean, I thought he was going to be a big deal, so my shirt that year has Balaban number 9 on the back.
That's amazing.
It's one to keep that, I think. Probably
you could probably make a bit of money off that, mate. Well, you probably couldn't, but it's definitely. I mean, it's a hell of a thing to have.
I was led astray by Alan McInally, like Villa legend and Bayern Munich legend Alan McInally, because he was on Soccer Saturday. I remember watching it because my dad watched that every week, and I used to watch it religiously with him. And I remember Alan McInally going, "If Aston Villa sign Bosco Balaban, they'll have a good season. If they don't sign Bosco Balaban, they'll have a bad season." And so obviously I was like, well, we've signed him. So
yeah, I'm going to put this out there. I don't think Alan McInally watched much Croatian football.
He must have.
I'm just, I mean, whether he could be a big fan of Dynamo Zagreb in the early noughties and watched Balaban before he joined us. Yeah. I don't know, but I'm going to put it out there and say that he probably didn't.
Yeah, he'd maybe been led astray by a scout or a friend. But yeah,
possibly.
Wasn't.
But there we go.
But I've still got that shirt framed on my wall. Maybe I should get that as my background.
Balaban. Yes. Well, actually, if you are watching on YouTube, I can only apologize on behalf of both of us. We have probably the most boring backgrounds you will see on a YouTube channel. We will address that. I think at every show we do, we'll add one thing to make it slightly more interesting, and keep the fans guessing. I might just kind of have something in the background that will get moved the next week, and then people have to come back and guess what it was that I've changed ever so slightly.
Wear a wig, just wear a wig, and we never mention it. A big ginger wig or a big or like do something like really avant-garde and just have someone like a mime in the background, just perfectly still. And people are like, is that a statue? And then just at the end, it just slightly moves, makes everyone jump like that. Yeah. That's what we got to do.
Okay. Let's give me some good ideas. Welcome back, everybody. Now we're on to our second big Villa story of the last few days, the prospect of a new club, Crest. Again, Villa have asked fans for their say. There seems to be a bit of a divide in the camp. Are you team Round Badge or team Shield Badge? It's like, are you Blur or Oasis? Are you Rolling Stones? Are you Beatles? Are you Watkins? Are you Ings? What do we go for? Frankie, what are you thinking with this one?
Are you George? Are you Frankie?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's a tough one.
Well, look, I started supporting Aston Villa in the year 1992. So for our younger listeners, yeah, that's a long time ago. So I've only ever known the Shield. I just have like affection for the Shield. It's just what the Shield shape. I don't know. I've just sort of grown attached to it, I guess. So my kind of emotional resonance with the round badge isn't really there in the same way it is for a lot of other people. Villa had obviously the European Cup and the tremendous success of the Ron Saunders era with that round badge and some classic shirts with it on as well. So obviously it's a very popular badge for a lot of Villa fans. So, whatever it is, I'll be, fine as long as it's not absolutely terrible. In which case, then I won't be fine.
What is your idea of absolutely terrible? Because we look back through the history of the Villa badge, and this is going way back when to essentially 1874 when the club was formed, and they more or less kind of all look the same, bar one.
Yes,
which looked utterly bizarre. It was. I mean, you should Google this if you haven't seen this. It's like red, blue, yellow. I think it's in a shield shape, and it's got the words forward underneath it, kind of like in the same style as prepared, but just the word forward instead. When did that happen, and why did that happen? I don't know.
Is it the original? Is it the flag of Birmingham? Like
it looks as in yeah. I mean, it looks like it could be. They look quite similar, I think.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm.
Would you want that?
Bring it back. That's where they're going to go, like out there in left field, isn't it? Bringing back the OG, the true OG badge. I don't know. There's a couple of like really old ones I absolutely love. I'm like, if I saw that come back, I'd be straight down the Villa store, blow my life savings. I mean, look, like I have a feeling they're going to go round badge. I think if they're going to change the shape of the badge, I assume round is the natural way to go, unless they sort of do that Fiorentina diamond shape. I think, is it Fiorentina of that? I think it might be.
Yeah.
Round. I mean, what modern teams have it? Man City has a round badge. Chelsea has a round badge.
Yeah,
and they're both very, very marketed teams, aren't they? Very, very modern, I guess, in how they do things. So Villa, I guess, if I was to guess, I think it's probably going to go round. And I've seen a few things floating around on Twitter that people have mocked up and done themselves, and fair play. I think there's a lot of very talented Villa fan graphic designers out there.
Well, we also had a bash at the new design, didn't we?
We
if
did.
you haven't seen this, it's on our Twitter page, and I thought, what better symbol to embrace kind of the Villa of the future is to celebrate a moment in time which helped guarantee our place at the top table of English football, remaining in the Premier League. So we thought we'd go round badge, but in the middle a little photo of Orjan Nyland's, in quotation marks, save against Sheffield United.
Save of the season.
It was a good. It's so good it managed to fool Hawkeye. Hawkeye gods were smiling down on us that day, and the goal wasn't given. And we draw that game in the end. I think we drew it 0-0.
0-0.
So there was a very vital point in that relegation battle. So I think, and there was a lot of love for that. So I think Purslow, Mr. Purslow, sorry, sir, if you're listening,
my phone's
just something to think about.
My phone wouldn't stop going off. I was like, wow, Villa fans really like this badge. So yeah, as you say, Mr. Purslow. I was actually looking at it today when they showed the redevelopment plans, and I was like, have they got our badge up there? Club Crest. New one, is it? No?
Yeah, maybe they published the wrong images, but
yeah, probably.
But yeah, no, I think I mean, I'm totally with you, Frankie. I grew up with a Shield. I think for our generation, I guess, is probably the the shield with the claret and blue stripes behind the lion. That's probably the one I remember from my formative years as a Villa fan. And it has changed. It has changed obviously since then to the. Well, initially we had essentially the badge we have now, except we had prepared underneath it, and that was sort of subtly removed a couple of years ago, probably at great cost. And then now we have a much cleaner kind of like lion with the sort of European Cup star and AVFC. I think personally, I prefer maybe to have the full club name there, Aston Villa FC.
Yes, same.
Might be nice maybe to have the year that we were formed, 1874. I mean, to be honest, I'm a bit like you. I'm sure whatever design they come up with will be good, will be great, and I'll get behind it.
Oh, you say that, and then wait till it's revealed, and we're like, what the hell? Why would they put a mermaid in there? What's mermaid got to do with?
Yeah, why are there pirates on top of this crest? Yeah. What's that got to do with Birmingham?
Yeah. Jurassic Park. Well, it was popular at the time, the movie, so people like dinosaurs. No one will forget like the badge.
Cillian Murphy in the middle of it wearing his Peaky Blinders outfit, something like that. Well, I mean,
Birmingham fans.
It could be worse. It could be worse, couldn't it? Because remember Leeds United. Everyone remembers that Leeds United badge a couple of years ago when they tried to rebrand, and it was that awful one with the bloke with his arm over the club badge. Remember that one?
Best thing I've ever. One of the best days on Twitter I've ever had. That was
unbelievable. So they could get it wrong. They could get it very wrong, but the decisions the current ownership have made have been pretty universally popular. So it would be a hell of a thing to do something terrible now. So yeah, I look forward to it. I think more than anything, and I'm sure they'll do a good job.
I think so. And also, George, just want to ask you, not too long now until the boys go off to Australia.
Yeah.
Pre-season tour. Do you think we might get another player in before they head off?
Ooh, well, I don't know. It seems like I've just been sort of following Fabrizio Romano, the famed transfer journo, on Twitter, and he's mentioned potentially a left back seems to be quite close. I don't know if you've seen that. I think Gerrard would absolutely love to make as many signings as he can before we start our pre-season campaign. We've made 3, as we've talked about already. Probably a couple of others will go before we, or at least probably be left behind, in the anticipation that they will move on. But yeah, in terms of incomings, yeah, maybe hopefully one or two would be nice. Couple of links with Conor Gallagher I've seen. They're becoming stronger, those rumours, but I feel like every club in the Premier League below 6th has been linked with him, so I don't know, but hopefully, I mean, I think Gerrard is a fan of his, but who wouldn't be after the season he had last year? So
well, Neymar's looking for a new challenge, isn't he, at PSG? So
well, this is where the likes of Coutinho and Douglas Luiz come into play. Just get in his ear.
This is where they got to pull their weight.
Duty. Yeah.
I'm the one that. So interviewed Neil Dunworth the other day from the For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Really excellent person to chat to. Really knows his stuff, and it's on YouTube if you want to check that out. And he said, the Conor Gallagher one was a link that's not going away. It hasn't gone away. And I tend to agree with that. It's. I have a feeling Chelsea are making their moves now. Raheem Sterling looks like he might be on his way. Rafinha, I think, from Leeds might be another one on his way.
Yeah, it's linked. Yeah.
So once those signings happen, Chelsea need to sell players, presumably. And I think Conor Gallagher might be one that can get them a bit of money as a player, and as a player who won't likely start much for them if he stays next season. I have a feeling he might well go if a good bid comes in for him. And I'd put Villa quite high up as a likely side to go for him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is. It seems to be quite divisive. Some people really don't seem to want him, and others really seem to want him. I presume if Douglas Luiz were to go, maybe Gallagher would not be the worst replacement in the world.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him. I said it. I mean, after we played Palace at the end of the season, And I actually said on the podcast, I said, Mr. Purslow.
Yeah,
Mr. Purslow.
I remember.
That's the saddest man
There's
ever, Mr. Purslow.
Mark of respect there.
Yeah.
For our CEO.
I said, Christian Purslow, sign. I said, look, check out Conor Gallagher. I love the man. I do. I really like him. I think he's a really good player. And very young and only going to keep improving, and has sell-on value as well at his age. And I think would add something to Villa, and I think, could probably play where, rotate with McGinn and Ramsey, I guess, in those two positions. Those three players, that's three pretty good players to have who can push forward, and he can probably step back as well if, say, Boubacar Kamara got an injury, but hopefully that won't happen, and you'd think Nakamba would be the one to step in there. So, I don't know. There's probably other parts of the pitch that people could argue Villa need to target more. But if we were to go for Gallagher and to get him, I don't think that'd be a bad move. Myself.
No, I would agree with you. I think, you want to sign good players, don't you, to elevate your club and help you push on. And Gallagher's certainly one of those. He's obviously broken into the England squad now, and which probably inflated his value a bit more. Chelsea financially, where do they stand now that Roman's gone and his money's gone? I'm not saying that who's their new owner?
Todd Bowley.
Todd Bowley. Yeah, Todd Bowley is they're
going to go big,
very wealthy, because they've clearly got a lot of money to invest. But it's not going to be as much as Abramovich. You'd think it wouldn't seem to be as wealthy as Abramovich. So maybe they might think about letting sort of fringe players go. I mean, it just shows the quality of Chelsea, doesn't it? That Conor Gallagher is essentially classed as a fringe player. But yeah, I mean, he's young enough to improve and develop and get even better. I'd love to see him at Villa Park. He's got tons of energy, gets up and down. He's obviously he's a creator. He scores goals. Scored a sort of fair number of goals for Palace last season. So yeah, he's a good player
as well.
Yeah.
Zinchenko's a player I'd like.
Yeah,
if he were to come, very intelligent, very versatile, can fill in at left back and in midfield.
Yeah,
I like him. If that were to happen, great.
But it's whether he would, he's a bit part player at Man City. Why would he move to Villa to also become essentially would probably take advantage of his utility, his usefulness.
Yeah.
And he probably wouldn't start too many games, which I think he'd probably want to. He's good enough. I mean, he is a fantastic player. And so he probably should move to a club where he's going to start. And I don't know whether that would be at us.
Yeah, I got Chelsea linked with him as well. It seems like Chelsea are raiding City for Ake, Sterling, and Zinchenko are the links today. I think Sterling looks the most likely, which is really surprising to me, to be honest. But this is not a Man City or Chelsea podcast. It is an Aston Villa podcast. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's another player in before we go to Australia. The Villa players go to Australia, but probably left back, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, I think so.